did 183,000. Now that's great to see that number, but like how much of it was ad spend? How do we get to that point? How do we optimize it to the point that it was able to do this much in sales? There's a lot of different skills that you have to learn in order to run a business successfully. After doing over $25 million in e-commerce sales, I can confidently say that this one skill pales everything else in comparison. It's not Facebook ads or choosing the right product or choosing the right niche. None of that stuff matters compared to what I'm about to show you in this video. And what I'm talking about is data analysis. It sounds kind of boring, but once you really understand this concept, like I'm about to walk you through in this video, it completely changes your business overnight. It gives you the ability to see into your business and analyze, where is my time best spent fixing it? Especially in today's day and age where there's so many different distractions, you're constantly getting hit with ads. This is the next best thing. You need this app. You need to try TikTok, Facebook. Like, it's all over the place. How are you supposed to know where you should be spending your time? And the number one question that I get from people is like, how do I get my ads profitable? This is the answer. I'm going to be pulling back the curtain and jumping into the analytics of my 7-figure e-commerce business and showing you one of the months that we had in 2022 that did about 180 grand in sales, 30 grand in profit. I'm going to be walking you through the analytics step by step, and you're going to be able to look over my shoulder and see how I analyze what was going on in the business. You can learn from that and then apply it to your business as well. And be sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'm even going to give you the template that we walk through here together. Now, without further ado, let's jump in. This is our e-commerce business. In the month of June, did $183,000 in sales. And these are the metrics that we're going to be looking at. So did 183,000. Now that's great to see that number, but like how much of it was ad spend? How do we get to that point? How do we optimize it to the point that it was able to do this much in sales? We went through this process here, the heart of your business. These are e-com sales report metrics. And what we're going to do now is walk through each of the metrics and define them together so you can get a base level understanding of like, what are the key numbers you should be looking at in your business. Like, it can be so overwhelming when you get into your dashboard and you see all kinds of numbers, especially in Facebook. If you're running ads, like there's just numbers everywhere. How do you piece together what are the most important numbers to be looking at and what are they really telling you about your business? So that's what we're going to do together now. Starting off in the top left, you can see we have all of our numbers, all the metrics here. And then I even put a definition of each of them here. So we have our total sales. So this is just the number from Shopify. It's just this number here. This date, June 1st, 7,040 plus 702. It comes out to that number here. And then this number here, the ad spend, that's the total amount that we spent on ads in that given day. And then our total ROAS, it's just a formula of sales divided by ad spend rather, that equals your total ROAS or your off Facebook ROAS. That's just a good gauge of like how healthy is your business overall. Then next to that, you have your Facebook ROAS. And this could be your Facebook, your TikTok, your Google, whatever it is. This is the ROAS that that platform is reporting for you on that day. The reason we compare both of these is that one, you could be advertising for multiple platforms, but two, sometimes this ROAS is off. Like here, for example, there's something wrong with the pixel and it was showing that we were getting no sales. We were running at a 1, which is terrible. But we know from looking at the total ROAS here that that wasn't the case. Next up, we have our cost per link click. And this is the amount of money that we are spending per link click. It's the link click, not the cost per click. It'd be kind of confusing. Cost per click is just if somebody clicks anywhere on your ad. So like they could click on your page, they could click read more, that counts as a click. The link click is whenever somebody clicks on your ad that actually takes the user off the ad to your landing page. So there's a subtle difference there, but it's important to note. This part is pretty cool. So the click-through rate and the CPM. So the click-through rate times the cost per 1,000 impressions equals your link click. So like we can do the easy math here. So 543 is your cost per 1,000 impressions. That means per 100 impressions, we're paying 54 cents. 100 impressions, then out of those 100 impressions, 0.0132 people were actually clicking on it. Now, if I know what I'm talking about, that should equal 41 cents. Your link click-through rate, out of 100 people that were shown the ad, what number of them are actually clicking on it? This is a good indication of if you have engaging ads, you're showing people products that they're interested in that they haven't seen before, then you normally have a higher click-through rate. But if this is a really low number, like something under 1%, then it shows that either your ad creative's not engaging, your product's not interesting, And there's a lot of things you can do within that to get that number up. The CPM is your cost per 1,000 impressions. For every 1,000 views, every 1,000 times that ad is shown, how much are you paying for that? Basically how competitive the space is that you're advertising, how expensive it is to show your ad 1,000 times. A good example is like in Times Square, the billboards there, cost per 1,000 impressions, it's like super expensive because it's very competitive. Like people are paying a lot of money to buy billboard spots there because it's Times Square. There's a lot of brand recognition that comes along with that. A lot of companies are bidding for those spaces. Same thing happens when it comes to paid advertising. People are willing to pay a lot more for ad spaces that are more worthwhile. Like for example, if you're advertising a business app or something in the finance industry, have really expensive CPMs, those are typically much more expensive, like $30, $40, $50, because companies are willing to pay a lot more for them. So there's higher competition for those spots. A sneaky thing that not a lot of people realize about CPMs is that Facebook will either punish you or reward you with CPMs based on the engagement level of your ads, because Facebook is in, and TikTok and Google, they're all in the business of keep users on their platform for as long as possible. The way that they do that is by showing users engaging content. So like if you show users ads that they freaking love, like they are liking, commenting, sharing, they're going crazy about it, Facebook's going to reward you because they see that as good content that's going to keep users on the platform longer, and then they can continue to serve them more ads. You want to prioritize making content that is engaging to the users, because then Facebook rewards you for that. The opposite is true as well. If you post something that's just like the most boring ad you could picture, stock photo, terrible ad copy, like not very engaging at all, and it gets 0 likes, comments, shares, Facebook sees that as an indication of like, this ad sucks. And then because of that, they're going to do the opposite. They're going to punish you with higher CPMs. Those are the two main things that impact CPMs. The second one, not many people know about. Moving right along, landing page views. Landing page views are the number of link clicks that convert to page views on the site. And that's just your landing page. Say that you have 1,000 or 100 link clicks, to use easy numbers, and you have 85 page views. And that brings us to our next metric. Link clicks is self-explanatory. Page views divided by link clicks. A lot of people think that like link clicks just converts to page views. Like, oh, I had 100 link clicks, I'll have 80 or 100 page views. That's not the case though, because there's a certain percentage of viewers will click and then they won't wait long enough for the page to even load. People are just scatterbrained. Like they have ADD, they're clicking, they're looking at pictures of like cat videos, that kind of thing. Then they see your ad, they're like, okay, maybe I'll click. They click, they'll give it like a split second before they're like, all right, screw this, I'm out. The biggest contributor to that is your page speed, which is something that, again, this is another sneaky one that people don't realize is hurting them, is that your page speed, if it's super slow, a healthy range is in like the 80% range, which you can see here. If you have a super slow speed, you could be losing 50, 60% of people before they even get to your site. That could be your entire problem, like with your ads not converting. So like people say, why aren't my ads converting? They think it's something with their ads or their product or like all these different things, when in reality, it could just be that their site is too slow. And like if they fix that, then their ROAS is going to shoot back up. Moving on to the Shopify metrics. So what we're looking for here is our add to cart rate, our reach checkout or initiate checkout rate, conversion, average order value, and reach checkout. Now, these numbers are all down here, and it's easy to just say, oh, this is my conversion rate. Oh, this is my average order value. But like, what do they actually mean, and why should you care about them? So starting with the conversion rate is really made up of 3 different numbers. It's your add to cart rate, your reach checkout or initiate checkout, and then sessions converted, which that's your actual conversion rate. The add to cart rate is the number of people that hit add to cart on either the collection or product page. We want that number to be in the 10 to 15% range, typically, depending on the type of site you have and the average order value. A healthy drop off is like 50%, 50%. It typically goes a 10 to a 5 to a 2.5, roughly. So the add to cart rate, if this is really low, then we know that we need to optimize our product page, because the only place that people have the option to add to cart is from either the collection page or product page. If we see, okay, maybe we have a high add to cart rate, but our initiate checkout, these are the people that added to cart, they viewed their cart, but then for whatever reason, they didn't initiate checkout. The only time that you can really improve this number is in the cart. So you go and look at the cart and see like what's what's going on here that could get this number up. There's very few things that you can do that would like tweak this. Then the last one is the conversion rate. So like, all right, they added to cart, got to the checkout page. Now they actually get all the way through the process of entering their payment information. They actually converted. Now, the main things that can impact them getting from this stage to the next stage is basically just if there's any hidden fees at the end, if your shipping costs they didn't know about and it's too expensive, like those are all things that would get people to not check out. And the last thing is your average order value. On average, out of all the customers that came to your site and purchased, what is the average cart size? So if you have 100 purchases, out of those 100 purchases, it equaled $5,000 in sales. That would be a $50 average order value. Pretty straightforward, but the reason these are important is you have your benchmark conversion rate and average order values that you're shooting for. And if you're not hitting them, then you know that you should be optimizing that point in your funnel. The thing I'll mention is that these numbers here are lower than we normally like them because our site got hit with a bunch of bots. Facebook, sometimes if they see that you're doing high volume, they'll send thousands, tens of thousands of bots to your site, which artificially deflates your numbers. So our actual conversion rate was like in the 3.5% to 4% range. Anyway, those are the numbers that you want to be shooting for. If you have a Shopify store, download this template or copy and paste it into your own Google Drive. Go through and enter your numbers. And just by entering your numbers, it'll start to highlight the ones that are problematic and you'll be able to see like where you should be trying to spend more of your time. And then compare this with the Miro board. And here's the Miro board. I've talked about it in other videos. If you haven't seen this before, go check it out. This tells you how to troubleshoot any of the issues that you're having on the sales report. So like if your click-through rate is low, the way that you fix that is by testing new offers and testing new creative. You have low add to cart percentage, you should split test your pricing and optimize your landing page. And you can see back how you should do that here. It's basically just a rubric for you. Just work off of this. Whatever issues you have, like there's solutions for all of them. These numbers vary drastically based on the niche you're in, what products you're selling, how established your brand is, what your prices are. For example, if you have a super high price point, then your conversion rate is going to be much lower, but your average order value will be much higher. And all that really matters at the end of the day is what your overall ROAS is. If your ROAS is within a profitable level for you, then great. That's the goal. If it's not, then take a deeper look, plug in all your metrics here to get started, and use the Miro board over at chrisheckman.org/Miro, Miro, all completely free. And you can get this sales report at chrisheckman.org/sales report. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. I hope you got an understanding of what some of these metrics mean and how you can use them to get a X-ray vision into your business and see what needs work and what doesn't. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe so I know what to make more videos of. Good luck on your brands, and I'll see you in the next video.